G'day. So I've got this mate, let's call him Bruce. He's a work colleague, he's very, very smart. However, he's not the most mechanically minded kind of guy. So he once told one of his mates that he changed the oil in his car when all he really did was just top it up. And then he complained that it was too difficult to change the oil in the car. So, Bruce, I'm going to teach you how to change the oil in your car. Now, it's not all that hard, and the car I'm going to be doing it on is my little blue 1975 MGB. Not the greatest car in the world, but it should do the trick. And you can follow along, and you'll find it's not all that hard, mate. Cheers. Right, so Adam, we're going to need, Bruce, we're going to need one of these. We're going to need a bucket. These are the tools we're going to need. Or even better, if you've got it, one of these, it's an oil tray. You're going to need a, either, you don't need all of these, you just need an adjustable spanner, or a plumber's wrench, or a set of these. Either one, any of them will do. That's probably the best. And every household should have one, so you've got no excuses. If you've got it, one of these is very handy. It's a oil filter remover. If you don't have one, it's not the end of the world. All you need to do is get a bit of rubber, and because the thing is, the oil filters can be a bit hard to take off. Bruce, the next thing we do is you look in the engine. The engine, see the oil filter? It's a big white thing. On your engine, it might be in a different place. You look on the side of it, and it says Z38. Best thing to do is to take a photo of it. Yep. And then you take that photo to your local hardware or car store. So, Bruce, throughout this process, you are almost certainly going to get a little few drops of oil. So it's best to do in the garage. And what I tend to do is I tend to put some old, what are they called? Cardboard boxes. Down on the ground. And as you can see, these have had a few done it. So even though I've done this a number of times, I still drop a bit of oil, and I'm sure I will this time. But yeah, so put a few cardboard boxes, they will soak up some of the oil, and then you'll just easy to clean it up. All right, it's a nice tip there for you at Bruce. Okay, so you've taken a photograph of your oil filter, and you've got your bucket. That's a bucket, and you've got a spanner or something to undo the bolt underneath. And now we go to your local auto parts place, and you ask them very nicely for a new oil filter and perhaps some oil which you're going to change. It's not hard. Okay, and here's a suggestion, Adam. Don't do this on a 40-degree day because the car's a little bit hot, and yeah, it's better to do it on a cooler day, but we're doing it now, so really that's it. All right. And notice I'm not doing this with my hands. I'm using a hands-free kit. That's also very important because otherwise it'd be illegal. Okay, bye. Okay, so we're at the auto store, and you've got a lot of different oils to choose from. If you're not sure which one, ask the guy. Okay, Adam. The problem with going to any of these auto stores, if you're anything like me, is you end up walking out with far load more than you actually expected to. But there you go, I've got my oil, yeah, and I've got my filter. It took me all of 5 minutes. Right, Bruce, next thing we do is we jack the car up. But it's really, really important that you put stands, hard stands underneath the jack. If you don't have hard stands, any old bricks or something solid will do, but do not get underneath the car with the jack alone. You need to put hard stands underneath it. All right, so that's what I'm going to do now. Okay, so Adam, next thing we do, Bruce, next thing we do is we go under the car. See that thing there? That's the sump. See the plug there, the little nut? That's the sump plug. So put the tray underneath the sump plug, and then we find a spanner that fits it. Hopefully. I'm going to guess she's an 18, but just in case, I'm going to take a 20 as well and see how far off I am. Okay. You can see how stupid I am. All right, 18. No, a bit too small for an 18. So 20. 20, spot on. There you go. So start undoing the sump plug. I've undone the sump plug, so it's quite loose. Now, because I've just driven the engine, the oil will be hot, so I just need to be a little bit careful. Normally the sump plug's magnetic, so it holds on to a little bit of metal stuff in the engine. So I've undone it, and so when I pull it off, it'll start coming out. All right. But because I haven't taken the cap off, it's coming out slowly. What we do, pop the bonnet, it's oil cap, there you go. Taking the oil cap off. Now it should be coming out a bit more quickly. Yep, see it there. So when I said before, don't do this on a hot day, yeah, actually lied. It's probably a good thing because it means the oil's a little bit less viscous and it comes out more quickly. So leave that for about 5-10 minutes and just make sure we get as much of the oil out of the sump as possible. An engine. There you go. Not hard. Okay, Adam. Bruce, while the oil's draining, while the oil's draining, you can take the oil filter off. And using this little beauty, she's a freaking makes life a lot easier. So that's the oil filter, and we pointed to it earlier. Now I can try, I'm going to see whether this works. I'm going to try hand do it, but it's actually quite hard to hand do it. You can do it with, if you use like a, one of those bottle lid opening things, a bit of rubber or something, or wait until the engine's a bit cooler or something like that. But this little doodad, she does the trick really easily. They cost about 20 bucks from Repco or somewhere. So let's see how we go. See, I don't know whether you can see that. There you go. Oh, look at that. Except for the fact that the little rubber handle came off. Twisted straight away. There we go. It should be loose enough to hand do now. There you go. See? Hand do. And unfortunately, dripping a bit of water, oil, so I don't want to get that all over the floor, which I did. Oh well. I'm going to move that under there so it still gets the sump. It'll also get the oil dripping from the oil filter. There you go. Tip it upside down, and that's our oil filter. And that can go straight in the bin. You're not going to use it again. Oh, a bit sweaty because it's a bit hot. It's like 40 degrees. Okay. So let's leave that all for a little bit and wait till it all drains out. Right, so it stopped dripping. If you look under here, yeah, there's only like little drips coming out. And now this step you don't actually need to do, but I do it just simply because I'm a bit anal about my car and my engine. So I've got some old engine oil here. It's an old thing which I haven't actually finished, and I like to rinse out the engine. So I've put the funnel, that's the word for it, in the engine thing, and I'm just going to pour it a little bit. Yeah, I spilled it all over the place. Fantastic. It's going to go straight into the exhaust pipe and produce a lot of smoke. Anyway, just put it through the engine, let it drip through, and it will just go straight into the tray again. And you can see it coming out. It's still coming out black there, which means it's just kind of clearing out the rest of the old stuff. But I've got tons of this old engine oil, so I might as well just use it. It's not going to do any harm to the engine. There we go. And so I'll let that just go through a little bit. And hopefully it'll start coming out a little bit clearer. Eventually. And I'm probably going to have to mop up the oil I spilt down there on the exhaust pipe, because otherwise it's going to start, I don't know whether you can see it. Yeah. Otherwise it's going to start smoking a bit. Oh well. Bruce, since it's a hot day, the next important thing to do is put the beer in the fridge. Now, this takes effort and skill because the beer fridge is kind of full. It's got a lot of Coke and crap in it. Alright, so if you don't know how to do it, ask your neighbour to help. Okay, so Bruce, this is a difficult bit. Watch carefully. Take filter out of the box with one hand. Put it onto where the other one came from. Oh, see, this is why it's difficult. I forgot. I need to take the plastic off. I'm gonna have to use two hands for this. Okay, plastic's off. Take the plastic off. Put the filter onto where the filter came off from before, and screw it in. Got that? Might want to replay that bit twice. Okay, so the next difficult thing is to take the sump plug, which you took out before, with your 20mm spanner, or your adjustable spanner, or whatever you used. Have a look. See that bit there? That's probably magnetic, and it kind of holds on to any magnetic or little bits of metal inside the engine, so you have a feel. No, there's nothing on it. All good. Put it back in the hole, which is quite difficult to do with one hand, but there you go. Screw it up till it's tight with your fingers. And as with the oil filter, don't over tighten it, because then it's just a bitch to take off later. So we'll just give it a little quick tighten with the wrench. There you go. Not too much. Voila! Done! See, wasn't hard. Okay, this is the oil that I've got for this car. It's a 20W60. It's a little bit heavier. It's because it's an old car and it's a little bit thicker, but because it's summer, it will be quite light and easy to start in the mornings. So, take the lid off. Really difficult. Look for the dipstick. Yeah, take the dipstick out. Don't need it for the moment. As you can see, virtually nothing there. And start pouring in about 1 litre at a time until it shows up on the dipstick. Okay. So the good thing about this oil bottle is on the side of it, I don't know if you can see here, it's got a little gauge already. So 5 litres, 4 litres and 3 litres. So I'll put about 3 litres in. So we'll put the dipstick in. I've cleaned it with a little bit of paper towel. All the way in. Take it out. Oh, look at that. It's just below the minimum line. So probably another litre and a half. We'll take it. So between the minimum and the maximum line is normally about a litre. About 1 more litre into it, and we'll have a look. You wait a little bit between adding it, just to make sure that it can migrate all the way down to the sump. Now we're about midway up the dipstick line. Also leave it for a little bit longer, see if there's anything more dribbling down to the sump, and then maybe add another half litre. Oh, it's a hot day. All right, so Bruce. Now we have added the extra half litre in, and we're going to check. We can check. It's not really hard. Oh, what does that say? Oh, spot on. Check that. Right on the maximum line. Okay. Then we take the funnel out, chuck it on the ground, put the oil cap back on.
It's a little bit trickier with this stuff. For some reason it's got a little kinking in it. Over there. Oh, okay, this is a bit embarrassing. It doesn't normally take this long. I need to trying to do it with one hand. Done. Oh, took a while.
Okay, now we take it off the stands. Okay, it's such a hot day that even in the garage, in the shade, my phone overheated. So I'm sorry you didn't get to see all of the rest of me unjacking the car, but trust me, it went off without a hitch. All good. So, next thing you do, we've put the lid back on the oil thing, and we've got oil in the car. We just start the car and just let it idle for a bit to allow the oil to distribute. I'll turn the volume down, and hopefully, as you saw just then, the oil pressure came up, so that means the oil is beginning to distribute in the car. Let it idle for a bit to let all of the new oil distribute around the engine. La 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 la. Idling pretty well actually. About 900 RPM. Give it a little bit of a blip. Oil pressure's not changing. All good. Now, what I do, turn the engine off, and I will wait for another 5 or 6 minutes, and then I'm going to check the oil level again, because as it goes through the engine and fills up the oil filter, we may have lost a little bit, and so I just make sure it's still at max. Cheers. Okay, so Adam, Bruce, the engine has been sitting now for a couple of minutes, so we're going to pull the dipstick out and have a quick look. And, oh, can you see it? So it's back down on the minimum line. So we'll just add an extra half litre and then she'll be good as gold. See, it's not too hard, Adam. I mean, Bruce. Sorry, Bruce. And there you go, Bruce. We're done. Wasn't that hard, was it? So, but wait, I hear you ask, what about the oil that we had? Well, most councils, including my local one, will happily pick up empty oil or old oil once every 2 weeks or so. You just leave it out beside your bin. Just put it into the old container that you add the fresh oil in. And there you go. So, pretty simple. I don't want to hear any more excuses as to why you can't change your own oil. Bruce.